cost money, so I invested in these tracks. Never lack, I'm pistol packing, leave your beanie on flat. I'm all in her guts like a fucking tummy tuck. I prefer thick bitches, I don't fuck with skinny sluts. Overtime,
Hey, yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right, so let's get it done. So with that being said, man, got a couple of questions I got to answer from some subscribers. It's about that time I start answering a couple that I've been having reserved in the archives. But before I do, just remember to always check the links in the description to check out the merch and along with all my music content that I've been dropping. I got 2 new songs I got uploaded to Spotify and Apple Music. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Just do me a favor. It's free. Take a quick second. Always hit the like button and always leave a comment in the comment section, man, because I always read everybody's comments and I also respond to everybody in a timely fashion the best that I can. I'm willing to engage the best that I can with the best answers. If I can, I will at least ask the questions on some of my YouTube shorts. That way I can get everybody engaged, because there's one question that somebody asked me that is real difficult, and I wanted to tell them, like, honestly, I think I'm going to ask everybody else and you could read their opinions on it. So let's get into the topics today. An individual asked me, how do you feel about when people catch a case and there is more than one person involved, but they caught the case because one of the person's stupidity? Should that person take the rap? Should someone take that rap or speak up when they know the other person in the case really wasn't involved? How do I feel about that? Honestly, you shouldn't let gangs and the concept of loyalty, in every sense of that word, make you believe that an individual is willing to take the rap because of those concepts, because of those terms. There have been a lot of instances where individuals, they be riding in the car with the gun on them. When the car gets pulled over, he throws a gun underneath the seat and says it ain't his. Next you know, everybody's getting cuffed up, everybody's getting questioned, or the driver gets taken down for that piece because it's his vehicle. I just learned to not to expect nothing and anything from anybody. I just know the expectations that I expect from myself, and I display those expectations every day and demonstrate them every day the best that I can. Because, I did commit these robberies on behalf of the street regiments, on behalf of Bubba's request. But on the same token, I utilized my ex-wife as a driver. But when I got busted at her house, committing another crime, another robbery, and I didn't realize they were going to cuff her up. When she was in the police station, I confessed to 4 robberies that I was involved in, of the 19 that they presented to me, saying that I was possibly going to be facing allegations from. I took the rap for these robberies, so that way they didn't pay attention to any of my co-defendants as well as my ex-wife, so she didn't lose her kids and my boys didn't get caught up through the process. I already knew I was caught, so I was just trying to reduce any more damage that was going to be done and reduce the investigation from going on any further. I'm going to be that type of individual to take the rap for it. Just like when you're in prison and you always talk to your cellies, there's always going to be that pre-established agreement. Like, man, whatever's mine is mine, whatever is yours is yours. You always got to have that common courtesy to tell your cellie, hey, man, I got this banger, bro. It's going to be right here, man. If anything happens, I'm going to take the rap for it. I'm going to flush it. I'm going to be the one to reach for it. Same thing goes for individuals who bring dope in. Oftentimes they're going to tell you, hey, man, this is my dope. I'm going to have a hoop. If there's something out, bro, just, block the door while I get rid of it, bro. I'll take the rap for it since I brought it in. At least that's how it worked on the S and Y. On the active side, it was more or less, man, whatever's in that house, you guys are both going down for it. So it's what predicaments and positions you place yourself in with others. I mean, you're going to have to take some responsibility to yourself to know that, man. If you knew he was getting in that car with that gun, you still decided to ride with him and take him around, and evidently you guys get pulled over and he flees the scene, you flee the scene, the gun gets placed in there. Yeah, you guys are going to have to both take responsibility for that gun. Yeah, you would like for this dude to own up and take ownership of his possession, but you knew it was in the car. Just like you knew he got in there and you're driving him around while he's selling sex because, he was getting you high and he was putting gas in your car. Whatever the case may be, I think every man should man up and be man enough to step up and take responsibilities for his own actions and his own crimes. Sometimes individuals do go down for others' individual stupidity. I confess to the crimes that I committed. And even though all 3 of us were wearing ski masks, I didn't point out my co-defendants. I didn't let they took themselves down on their own. I just did that to try to save a lot of people. And at the end of the day, I just got 15 years, 1 strike, which was nothing at the age of 18. But you just can't expect that from other people. I mean, the hard truth of the matter is that they're going to do it whether they choose to or not, or whether you force them or not. They're going to do that. Every man's going to make a decision that's going to save themselves. The self-interest, the best interest of oneself is always going to be firsthand. So you really can't expect that man to actually own up to his mistakes and his errors and his case and his charges. So you're just going to have to write it down, right along. I disagree with it personally. Like I said, I think every man should take responsibility for his own actions, but just that's never the case a lot of times. That's why, like a lot of people be saying, man, you always got to keep your circle smaller than a dot. You know, watch who you bring in. You got to make sure, if you're going to call that individual a friend, if you're going to call that individual a homie, a brother, a brethren, a loyal member of your hood, of your gang, of your set, I mean, you got to be really sure about every man's actions, man, because it sounds good when it's coming out their mouths, man, but we put that man in that predicament when that gun is in the back seat and both y'all riding in the front passenger seat. You know, somebody's going to take that charge, bro. I mean, who's willing to do time? So like I said, it's a tough one, man. But me personally, I just think any man in his right sense of mind, if loyalty means anything to you in the sense of the word, you know, don't let other people go down for your mistakes. You know, just hold yourself accountable for once. You know, I don't mind that the judicial system is going to hold me accountable because I know what I was doing when I picked up that gun and I sold that sack, when I committed that robbery, I put on that ski mask. But being held accountable by your own homies, by your own friends, by your own family, by the streets and the prison politics, you're going to deal with a lot more of that and a lot longer than you would deal with that judicial system. So, you know, keep that in mind and bear that in mind when you decide to let other people go down for your mistakes and your actions. The other question a subscriber asked me was this: since I've been running the streets, have I ever tried to discourage any youngsters from joining a gang? Have I done it since I came home? What percentage of youngsters do you think actually know all the pitfalls that come from being a street gang member? All the rules and expectations when they go to prison? Could YA have prepared them for prison politics? Look, when I got busted, it was at the age of 18, and I had just did like 2 or 3 terms in YA. You couldn't tell me nothing. You couldn't try to guide me in the right direction, even if you had God behind your back to do it. Because if I wasn't listening to anybody back then, I don't think none of these youngsters are going to listen to me now. Hence why I just established this YouTube, not only to talk about my prison politics, you know, elaborate on the S and Ys and the GP's politics and what the gang lifestyle is like and what the gang aspect world's like in prison. But this is a social platform. This is where a lot of the youth are going to come running to looking for some form of entertainment. Social apps are a form of entertainment nowadays. So if this is the best platform that I can send this message clearly to these youngsters that won't listen to me on the streets, it'll be right here. I can't go to the streets and tell these youngsters that you might want to put that gun down, bro, because that 25 to life is going to hurt you a lot more than you think. You know, shooting that man for wearing that color and wearing those shoelaces and wearing that little blue bandana, your homies are going to remember you only for so long, bro. And then once you hit that prison system, bro, there's going to be another homie that looks just like you, bro. That's going to take your place. That's going to replace you. That's going to replace your memory. Like, oh, you ain't earning nothing by killing that man over a street gang. But that's the thing, though. Some of these kids don't want to listen. And sometimes, you know, I think it's always best that people learn the hard way. Like I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way when I picked up those guns and I shot at those people and I committed those robberies and I did that 15 years of fucking hell. I needed to learn the hard way when my mother decided to walk away and said, you put yourself in that predicament, you get yourself out of that predicament. You know, I had to learn the hard way when all the women that I was in love with and I was keeping in touch with were just in and out of my life, leaving me out to dry, leaving me hanging, where I had to turn to prison politics and my brotherhood to take care of me. You know, then they're not going to get it until they get placed in that predicament and finally understand when these dudes on the yard are getting stabbed over 200 or something times as an example being made out of him and thrown underneath the bunk and his body's not being found for like 2 or 3 days. When you're going to yard every day and you're functioning as a northerner and you're playing basketball and you're playing handball and your squad leader walks up to you and tells you, hey, drop it. And you better drop your piece within 5 seconds. And you better hope it don't come out with no dookie on it. Because then you're going to be disciplined and be escorted to the disciplinary and you're going to do 500 burpees while you got boxers full of shit. You don't want to be in that predicament when these northerners tell you an hour in advance before you go to yard, like, hey, man, this is the individual you're going to walk next to and you're going to stab him until he can't get up. You are to disable this individual on the yard until they shoot you. Some of these prison yards have 30 hit policies. Like, you better hit them 30. You better not hit them no less than 30 or else you're going to be deemed and disciplined for that stuff. Sometimes reality needs to set in like that. And it sucks that some people need to take that bus trip to prison to finally reach that eye opener that they needed when everybody's against you on the yard. I mean, a lot of these individuals I see out here, I look at them like, man, they look like kids. They look like babies. I'm like, man, how you just gonna put Edgar on the yard like that at the age of 18, 19 for an attempted murder, and you're going up against 150 Southsiders that are, I mean, well, one goes, they all go. That's the policy for them. Whether it's a cop, whether it's an inmate. You mean to tell me you're gonna put little Edgar on that yard and have him get hurt like that? Why? Because you decided, because somebody convinced him that it was necessary to kill this individual wearing this color, representing this hood, representing this set, and it was worth it? That's the thing, though. That's the thing that I learned out here. Is that, yeah, there's a couple of individuals that got at me in here for advice and or asked me about certain situations about prison. Some of them just got at me on my social medias and be like, hey, man, you kind of opened my eyes to the prison politics, man. It's crucial in there, man. It's brutal. If I could do something with these YouTube, all I'm doing is exposing the lifestyle for the good and the bad. And hopefully this YouTube right here, this channel right here can show these individuals that it ain't fun and games, bro. It ain't all about social medias and posting a pic with you holding a gun. I'm trying to press this girl you've been trying to sleep with since junior high school. Like, bro, people are taking this shit serious. And when you finally get that 15, 20 to life and that LWAP, and there ain't no coming home no more, you're going to wish you never picked up that gun. You're honestly going to wish that you stood in school. Most of my prison term was level 4s, 180s. And I can tell you right now, 70% of the population has life without possibility of parole. And I guarantee you, more than 80% of those individuals will tell you straight up, man, if I could change it and do things different, I would. I'd rather be in school. I would have rather went this way. I would have rather done this instead of pick up that gun and shoot him, or instead of robbing this store and catching my third strike, instead of burglarizing this home for a meal and some clothes and a shower. The most I can tell these kids, man, is like, man, just be careful on what you do. If that's the lifestyle you want to do, man, don't half-ass it. Go hard in the paint, because I went hard in the paint on behalf of my people, working for my big homies, and it led me down a dead-end road. But I still did it to the best of my ability, and I did it full-fledged. Because you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and you hesitate, man. That hesitation right there can get you killed. But I would tell them, but if you do decide not that this ain't the place, this ain't the route you want to go, this ain't the place you want to be, now's the best time to make that decision to put a stop to all that. Bro, because that street sign that you're banging, man, is going to be there when you're dead. That neighborhood you walk around claiming it's yours, man, 10 years from now it could be overpopulated by your rival enemies and your whole gang could be extinct. You know, the tables turn drastically, man. The dynamics move differently every different era. There's hoods that ain't even around no more that used to be around when I was around. But then they no longer exist, man. New other hoods popped up. And trust me, California Youth Authority ain't gonna do nothing but make matters worse. Because when I went to California and I started exercising, I started programming with the homies, I started working out and coming out swollen than my homies that were drugged out, smoking weed, drinking all day, doing nothing. All I did was want to fight. And all I did was continue to fight. It made me bloodthirsty to fight. So why I ain't gonna help these kids out? If anything, sending these kids to these California Youth Authorities as a scare straight program, as a scare straight purpose, is only going to be more detrimental to their mental and physical well behavior, because these individuals are going to go in there and come out even worse than what they were as juveniles. And sending these individuals back to the streets to terrorize these communities, only for them to end up in prison, is going to cause a lot more damage into these kids' minds, where it's going to be harder for them to change in the long run. So yeah, California Youth Authority ain't the place to be, because I think that's what made me become the person that I was when I went to prison. Because all I wanted to do was gangbang even harder than I did in YA, because I thought I had fun with it. It's not the case. So I hope I answered you guys' questions to the best of my ability. I apologize if it was short and quick. I'm just answering some of my questions that I had, backed up in my phone. So with that being said, man, one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done, man. Hit the links in the description and check out my music content as well. Peace.